Welcome to Save Asability, a podcast to educate and inform you about disability employment issues. My name is David D'Arcangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Save Asability. It's David D'Arcangelo, and we've got a guest today, a great guest, Matt Diamante. But before we get to Matt, we want to ask if you can continue to help us grow by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. All of that really does help us keep great content flowing for you. And we want to welcome in our great guest, Matt Diamante, who's battling allergies today, I think, Matt.
It's like a cold and allergies, and I'm like blowing my nose, so I'm like muting, unmuting. It's a whole thing.
Well, we appreciate your diligence for hanging in there, even though you're battling that. But Matt, if anybody is online and has a website and is interested in search engine optimization, has really become one of the preeminent SEO specialists, I guess, in North America with his HeyTony platform. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But really, one of the focuses, Matt, I'm hoping to get into is how search engine optimization and accessibility for people with disabilities are so interrelated. But why don't we start with a little bit about you?
God, what do you want to know? I could tell you a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, we love HeyTony, and maybe you can give us like the backstory to HeyTony, because your name's Matt. Like, why isn't it Hey Matt?
So a little bit about me. I'll start not from the start, but I'll start a little bit farther back. So right now I run a digital marketing agency called HeyTony. My name is Matt. I'll get to that story in a moment. But I actually started doing SEO back in, I think it was 2011, 2012. And I went to school for advertising, marketing, communications management, which is a fancy way to say account manager. And in that program, they teach you a little bit about everything. So building a website, using Photoshop, using Illustrator, doing some SEO, buying traditional newspaper. And for some reason, I was just like, SEO, this like makes sense to me. So I went down that avenue and I freelance, and eventually I had too many clients and I had to hire somebody. And that was the start of my agency called HeyTony. And I bet you're wondering about the name, aren't you, David?
I love the backstory here. I actually got to hear it on another thing, but you could tell our audience.
Yeah. So when I was trying to come up with the name for the agency, I wanted it to be something that had like some weight behind it or some meaning, and not like Matt Marketing or Diamante Digital or something like that. So I recalled a time where I was walking to lunch and I overheard these two construction guys talking, like the guys with like the big arms, like bigger than the size of your head. The manly men, the burly men. I overheard them talking, and the one guy goes, "Hey, Tony, you always know how to put a smile on my face." And I thought, like, what a genuine expression of emotion from somebody you would not expect. And I was like, that's the kind of feeling I want the agency to have. That transparency, that let's all put smiles on each other's faces. So I called it HeyTony.
It's a great story, and it really fits you. And I think the thing that's attracted me to you and your stuff is you are so positive. So we value that here at Save Asability. That's one of our overarching themes and really the way we conduct ourselves. But then not only are you just talking that, you're backing it up. So let's now get into the particulars that obviously you care about people with disabilities because you've made all your stuff as accessible as you can. And really, I know that that's what you're instructing all of your people that are in your universe and in the HeyTony insiders and all of that. So again, I like that you're not looking for shortcuts or let's hack this or some, weird. No, it's all white hat. It's all very positive. So maybe you can talk a little bit about the intersection of accessibility and search engine optimization.
Yeah. So I don't think I've ever told this on a podcast, but I used to work with people with disabilities and like teach them how to do marketing and SEO and all this kind of stuff. So it was very important to make sure that everything was really, really accessible. And the kind of the intersection that you're talking about with SEO is even when we're talking about like heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4 tags, like that tells you how important that piece of content is on a page, and it kind of takes you through that journey. So if you go from heading 1 to heading 2, you're like, okay, well, we're continuing in a subtopic. And then if you go from heading 2 to heading 3, you're like, okay, well, now we're in, a subtopic. And that goes on with the heading tags. But if you're jumping around your heading tags, like let's say you're using it for styling rather than what they're meant for, which is taking people through the journey. If you're saying, okay, we're going to start with the H2 and then we're going to go to an H1 and then we're going to go to an H3 and then we're going to go to an H2, like it's jumping around. People are like, what is this? What am I supposed to do? And it's the same thing with Google. They're like, okay, well, the H1 is what the page is about, right? And that's going to be right at the top. If you're using a screen reader, it's going to say, here's the title of the page or whatever it might be. And it's going to take you through that. And Google wants to see that hierarchy of like H1 to H2 to H3. And then you can go back to H2, like if you're talking about a slightly different subtopic. But it's keeping things organized like that. And people are used to seeing that.
Yes.
I don't know if it's like the best way to do it, but people are used to seeing that. So when they navigate to a website, they're looking for familiarity.
Right.
Right. So
and if you're using a screen reader, JAWS or Zoom Text or Narrator, whatever the case may be, that order, that organization is what directs it to read the screen. So it really is important.
Yeah. And if you like, do you remember a lot of people tried to have menus on their website on like the left-hand column?
Yes.
And that kind of went away. It's still like if you're using like logging into like software or something, there's still menus on the right-hand side or on the left-hand side.
In a frame.
Yeah. But people try to do that with websites and that's not what people are expecting. They're like menus at the top. That's where the buttons are. And contact's always going to be on the far right. Like, you could know kind of where everything is. So it's just like play by the rules that everybody else is expecting.
All right, now let's drill down a little bit. And again, another thing that I value about you and your community that you're doing is you're giving this all away, essentially, right? You're not trying to gatekeep too much. You really have developed a lot of free tools for people to use. So let's drill down a little bit about how organizations can write effective alt text that serves the user, but also then supports SEO.
Yeah. So when you have an image, you want to make sure that you're describing what the image is. And that is good for SEO because if you're adding random stock photos or random images to your blog post or to your content, like it probably shouldn't be there if it has nothing to do with your content. So if I did like a study, let's say 55, this is just like I'm making this up, 55% of everybody uses Google, does this one thing. And I have a graph, I would say a graph showing that 55% of people on Google do X, Y, and Z. It's a bar graph. Like you can get very specific with that. And then if there's an image, you can say like woman, like if it's for like a black dress, for example, woman wearing a strapless black dress, or wedding dress or engagement dress, whatever it might be. Like that's how basic it can be because if somebody's using a screen reader, they're not going to need to necessarily know like, what's her skin tone? What's this? What's
right,
that?
Don't
like,
over describe it necessarily.
Yeah, don't over describe it. But you can also say like woman wearing a strapless black dress with whatever kind of earrings, with diamond earrings or with your kind of earrings. And that's totally fine to do. And that helps Google know what the image is about. And that up until recently is how you get on Google Images, by the way, right? Having that alt text in there. So having the accessibility features helps you rank with your images. Now I think Google is still looking at that, but they realize people are keyword stuffing there, and AI is analyzing the images as well.
So we're really finding out then that SEO and accessibility kind of go hand in hand here. And when you have good accessibility built in, you're really kind of raising the floor of the SEO.
Absolutely. And the thing about SEO as well, and just having content on your website, the more people that can access it, and I'm not just talking about accessibility, I'm talking about like ease of use, ease of understanding. The wider net you cast, the more people are going to understand your business, what you do, how they can, hire you or buy from you or whatever it might be. I always say like, try to write your content at like an 8th grade reading level, like keep it simple.
I think that's right. And I actually preach that to my clients as well, that while accessibility and usability are separate things, they're highly correlated. So generally, the more usable you can make something, if you can ensure that it's accessible, that's then the rising tide lifts all ships. All right, another specific question. All right, what accessibility challenges might an SEO audit miss that SEO problems or like a WCAG audit could then fix. Does that make sense? So like, because you have your WCAG audit, you have your SEO audit, and those
Yeah.
don't necessarily always jive.
No, so like an SEO audit won't show you things like if people can change the size of the text or the contrast or like certain colors or a bunch of the other accessibility things. Like no SEO audit is showing you that stuff, right? And like that stuff is important to have, and like you can get a plugin on your site that does like I would say like 99% of it, maybe 100% of it, for you. You just install the plugin.
Right, right. So that I guess the takeaway there for people who are interested is you really do got to do both audits and then kind of try to
Yeah,
reconcile both as best as you can.
100%. And it's like if your website is not accessible, then you're taking out a portion of the population that could be buying from you, hiring you, even just like helping them find information that they're looking for, like how-to information.
That's right. And generally the best sites to interact with are also accessible. Right. So, all right. Well, Matt, as we begin to conclude here, why don't you give people how they can get in touch with you? And I know you have free tools and, you're doing just a great job, I think, of helping to raise the bar for accessibility with your SEO work. So we value that.
Oh yeah. Appreciate that. People can find me everywhere on the internet. Just Google Matt Diamante. I'm on all the social platforms. My website will come up, or you can Google HeyTony. Same thing.
Yes. And I value that, you've asked me for some accessibility stuff. I value that. That's important. And, it's just a constant process of improvement, right? Because the internet, the web changes all the time and content
Yeah,
changes all the time.
100%. And like, I do think we're getting to a place because people are using screen readers. People are using a variety of different tools to consume content, even if it's video content. Like, I don't know about you, but I'll find a podcast that I really want to listen to or grab information from, but I don't have the time. So I will take the transcript from YouTube because YouTube gives it to you, drop that into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever LLM I want to use, and say like, give me the highlights of this. Right. So, and then like it can read it back to me if I want, or I can read it. Right. Or I can just take that YouTube video, put it into notebook.lm, and it'll make me like a 5-minute podcast or like an infographic that I can look over.
Or a blog post that you could
Or
put
a
on
blog
your
post.
site to optimize your site.
Yeah. Like there's so many options, and like people consume content in all kinds of ways. So like why wall one way off? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think that does make sense. All right, one final quick thing.
Yeah.
On the web content accessibility guidelines, we know that the DOJ has been like enforcing the rules now and everything, and cities and towns are going to have to get compliant. What do you think about WCAG and the latest version?
I actually don't know too much about it.
All right,
I'm
we
going
can
to be fully
work on
honest.
that, Matt. Maybe we'll even have you back, the web content accessibility guidelines.
Well, that's like the thing is, like, I have a plugin on my site that does all of this stuff for me. So I'm like, I don't need to know what each individual thing is. Nor do I want to, well, I don't want to say I don't want to take the time. I just don't have time to dive into that whole side of things, which like it is very important. And like, there's people like you, David, who are specialists in that, who I could be like, David, what's going on with my website?
Right, which level of access are you at?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I explain that to people all the time. One accessibility feature for one prevalence type, like say for the blind, might not be fully accessible for the deaf or for another prevalence type. So I don't think the goal is to get to perfection. I don't know if perfection exists on this plane in this realm. It's to be, poor, the perceivable, operable, that whole thing to make sure people can consume the content.
Yeah. I don't know if this necessarily applies, but I heard once from somebody that said it's dumb not to dumb it down. So like in terms of the actual content and in terms of like how simple can you make this to access, right? How like, and I'm sure you've gone through forums online that's like, here's number 1, you're going to do this first, and then here's step 2, and then here's step 3. And there's even arrows guiding people like, click here now, do this next thing. Like you have to dumb it down because people don't know your system, right? People don't know your website. And if you do things differently, or if you don't make it easy for them, you're not going to get customers.
Well, there's still human involved, but I mean, at some point, I think in 10 years, we'll be sitting here and it will be computers talking to computers and it'll be less people, right? So it's a brave
100%.
new world, Matt.
Have you heard that there's this social media network just for AI agents?
Yeah, I have
It's like,
actually.
I'm like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard of, and I want to explore that more.
Further,
But
there's a Discord group that they talk back and forth to each other in their own language, and you can listen in, and it basically sounds like two fax machines talking to each other.
that's crazy. I've like, who made that? Who has time to learn this stuff? And I'm like, I would love to set up an AI agent or bot or whatever open claw thing and just have it go. But I'm like, I got other shit to do.
I know. How many different sites have you created already?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a
Right?
lot out there. But it's also like, I think just taking it back, like taking it offline, right? Like we all have lives, we all have family or friends or people that we care about. So it's how can we do more of that and less of the AI crap?
Yeah. Well, you're doing a good job, Matt. You're one of the good guys giving away
Oh, thank you.
great free advice. We value that. We appreciate what you're doing for people with disabilities.
Yeah, I'm very happy to help.
All right, Matt. So send us anything you want to promote. We'll put it in the description so that they can reach out and consume your content. But we want to thank you for joining today, Matt Diamante from HeyTony. And we want to thank all of our listeners and viewers. Again, if you can help us continue to grow by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, all of that really does help us keep great content flowing for you. It's David D'Arcangelo, another episode of Say Visibility, and I hope you have a great day.
For more information about disability employment issues, please visit our website, disabilityemploymentsolutions.com. The Save As Ability podcast is available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, our YouTube channel at Disability Policy Expert, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by Pod Pro Entertainment. Save As Ability lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. #TheNewRadio. Again, my name is David D'Arcangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert. Until next time, thank you. I hope you have a great day.